Welcome back. So today we're talking about the Divine Comedy, the second canto, which is actually also the second one in the Inferno. Um, let's get into it. So this particular canto, if you recall, the first one was just sort of an introduction to the entire Divine Comedy, sort of understanding what the Inferno is, what Purgatory is, what Paradiso is, uh, heaven, purgatory, and hell. And Dante chose to start the journey of looking through the afterlife and understanding it by going into the Inferno or hell. Interesting choice. Not sure I would have done it that way, but we're talking about him 800 years, 900 years after he did this, so we're not going to be talking about me 900 years later. So he's probably smarter on that. But um, he's trying to decide whether or not he's actually qualified to do this. So this is sort of an introduction to going into the Inferno or the underworld. And Dante is kind of like, am I really the guy that should go do this, right? So he's middle-aged as he's sort of reached the middle of his life, and he's asking himself all these kinds of questions. Today we refer to this as sort of a midlife crisis. But he's asking himself all kinds of questions about what am I going to do, which way in life am I going to go, this way or this way or this way, right? And we all kind of ask ourselves those questions. But he's convinced he's not qualified for this journey, so he kind of goes and turns to uh, uh, he turns and says, "Hey, am I really the right guy for this?" And he recalls that both Aeneas and Saint Paul made this journey throughout all parts of the afterlife, whether it's purgatory or whatever. They got to tour the whole thing, and he's like, "Am I really as qualified as Aeneas and Saint Paul? That's not me, right?" And that's something I think a lot of people ask themselves when they get to be middle aged. Is like, "Am I really that qualified? Am I really the senior guy?" Like, if you saw what I do for a living, there's days. Or a lot of imposter, not anymore, but there have been days in my career where imposter syndrome sets in, right? You're starting to do stuff that's real. You're starting to do stuff that's no longer just an academic study. You're starting to do things that actually matter, and you're like, "Am I really qualified for this? Is this really right?" And then you get through it and you go on. So we call it imposter syndrome now. He suffered from a little bit of imposter syndrome. So Dante, even though he is who he is, right? He's like, "Am I really the guy?" And he's kind of nervous. And Virgil tells Dante that you really need to be courageous. You need to just buckle in, man. We're going to get through this together. You and me. We're going to go through the entire afterlife. We'll be okay. There's three ladies up in heaven, including the Virgin Mary, which is interesting because he never actually says the name Virgin Mary. A lot of scholars say that one of the things he's implying is that. And another one, and then there's also Beatrice, and you'll notice in the Inferno that sort of names of angels and things aren't said by Dante. He sort of leaves them out. He tries to not say them while he's in hell. But forget about that for a second. He also names specifically Beatrice, and Beatrice is Dante's lifelong love from when he was a child all the way through forever. So after hearing all that, Dante goes, "All right, fine, I'm in. Let's go." Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Dante goes, "Okay, fine, I'm in. Let's go on this journey. Um, I'm on it. We're good. I'm with you. Let's go." And that's where the canto basically ends. Now there is, because as we mentioned last time, there is a Salvador Dali painting that goes with each canto, and this is the Dali painting for canto number two. And what you see is Virgil kind of telling Dante, "Hey, come on, man, it's okay." And you kind of see these lines coming down from heaven where three ladies are watching him up on the side. So I think Dolly has done a great job of saying, "Hey, look, people from heaven are looking down upon you. They're going to protect you, right? Come with me, take the journey." And ultimately, Dante decides to do that. So, and that's where it dives in the next canto. So we'll talk about that one whenever I get a chance to do that video. But this is the sort of introduction to hell, and it is the introduction to that part of the afterlife, and it is sort of a spot where you get to see Dante have that midlife crisis. And I think there's a lot of identifiable stuff that goes on in this particular canto that, even though it was written so long ago, we can still kind of pull out of it today and see where we all face these same questions that even Dante faced. Everybody have a great day.